G'day everybody and welcome to week 18 of Susies Selections, brought to you by Sinclair Wilson.
Are you getting everything you deserve? At Sinclair Wilson, we can answer all of your financial questions, optimise your tax position and develop long-term strategies which will be very much to your advantage. Sinclair Wilson, for strength in numbers.
Did marginally better in the tipping last week. I got 7, which is pretty respectable. I'm still 10 off the pace of the leader in our newspaper tipping competition though, and with only 6 rounds to go, it's probably too much ground to try and make up. But hopefully I can redeem myself a little bit with some good form late in the season. To start things off in the AFL, we have Hawthorn versus Richmond at the MCG. I'm really tempted to pick Richmond for this one, even after their capitulation last week against Fremantle. They really should have won that one. But it's impossible to go past the Hawks at this stage. I can't see anyone beating them in their current form, so Hawthorn for me. And then on Saturday we have Geelong versus Brisbane Lions at Simonds Stadium. As a Geelong supporter, it was a pretty pleasant surprise last week to see them do so well against the Giants. Hopefully they can keep that winning momentum going because they really need it. They also need the percentage, so hopefully they get a good win over Brisbane, and I'm tipping them to win it pretty comfortably. Then it's Collingwood versus Melbourne at the MCG. The Pies have really struggled of late, but I still think they're good enough to beat Melbourne, and so I'm tipping them to break their 5-game losing streak. Then we have Sydney versus Adelaide at the SCG. Adelaide had a big win over the Suns last week and are in quite good form at the moment. They're certainly doing better than Sydney, but I'm tipping the Swans at their true home ground. Adam Goods won't be playing, of course, but I'm tipping the players to rally and they'll want to do well for him, so Sydney for me. And then we have Carlton versus North Melbourne at Etihad Stadium. The Blues have certainly been brought back to earth of late. They're back to where they were in a season that's really a bit of a write-off. So I'm tipping North Melbourne to get the win, and it should be a good percentage booster for them. Then we have the Gold Coast Suns versus West Coast at Metricon Stadium. The Suns without Gazza again, so I think are really going to struggle, and the Eagles of course are in sensational touch at the moment, so West Coast very easily in this one. And then on Sunday we have Port Adelaide versus St Kilda at Adelaide Oval. These two sides are right next to each other on the table. Port's just 1 win ahead, but they're at home, and so I'm tipping them to have a pretty good win. And then we have Essendon versus Western Bulldogs at Etihad Stadium. I'm tipping the Doggies in this one. They were looking to firm up their spot in the top 8, and I think should be good enough to handle any challenges Essendon throws their way. And finally in the AFL we have Fremantle versus Greater Western Sydney at Subiaco. The Giants were pretty disappointing last weekend, especially early on against Geelong. And Freo will be buzzing after an exciting win over Richmond, and of course they're still the top team, so I'm going to be going with Fremantle for this one. And over in the Hampton League, first up we have Terang Mortlake versus Portland at Terang Recreation Reserve. The Bloods are really starting to hit their straps since the bye. They've been pretty good the last 2 weeks, and I think we'll be able to get the job done pretty easily against the bottom of the table Tigers. And then it's North Warrnambool Eagles versus Cobden at Bushfield Oval. It's a shock loss for the Eagles last week, but I'm tipping them to bounce back at home with the win over the Bombers. Then it's Koroit versus South Warrnambool at Victoria Park. South, of course, was a team that defeated the Eagles last week, so hopefully they carry that form into this contest and put up a pretty good challenge, but I'm tipping Koroit for this one. And then it's Warrnambool versus Hamilton Kangaroos at Reed Oval. I'm tipping the Blues in this one. I don't really see them being troubled by the Kangaroos at all. And then finally we have Camperdown versus Port Fairy at Lira Oval. This is a bit of a tough one to tip. Camperdown really needs to get this win to keep their finals hopes alive, so it's a pretty crucial contest for them. They do have a tough run in the last few rounds of the season, so hopefully they can put in a pretty good effort, but I think I have to go with Port Fairy just based on form, though there is only 1 game separating them on the ladder. And that's it for this week everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope everything's going well for you all, and happy tipping.